He was supposed to marry her today. But as the cameras clicked and the guests looked on, Leo Wright realized this wasn't a wedding. It was a trap. Leo's hand trembles as he looks away from Charlotte, his gaze meeting Sophia McAllister, a woman he's just met, standing at the back of the room. He catches her eye. Then, in a whisper only she can hear, "Please, fake date me. Just for a few minutes. I need to escape this wedding. Can you help me?" Stay with us to find out what happens next. You won't believe the twists ahead. Hit subscribe, tell us where you're watching from, and drop a comment. Would you help him escape? In the world of billionaires and high-stakes marriages, Leo's world is built on power, control, and lies. But what's the price of freedom when everything you've ever known is at stake? Sophia hesitates. Glancing back at Leo, the tension is unbearable. The wedding ceremony proceeds, and the scene cuts to a close-up of Charlotte's smile, a smile that hides secrets of her own. The grand ballroom is alive with opulence. Laughter echoes off the marble floors, the clinking of champagne glasses reverberates in the air, and golden chandeliers cast a soft glow over the lavish setting. Guests, dressed in their finest, mingle and whisper, unaware of the storm brewing behind the veil of perfection. At the altar, Leo Wright stands still, a pillar of perfection, handsome, wealthy, and poised. But his face betrays him. The smile he wears is forced, his gaze distant. He looks at Charlotte Vanetti, his fiancée, who beams at him, radiating the kind of confidence that comes from years of social training. To the world, they're the perfect couple. To Leo, they are two actors playing a role in a game he no longer wants to be part of. The priest's voice drones on, but Leo isn't listening. His mind races. He glances toward the back of the room, where Sophia McAllister stands, a stranger in a sea of high society. Her simple, elegant dress contrasts sharply with the extravagance around her, and for a brief moment, her eyes lock with Leo's. He freezes. There's something in her gaze, curiosity, maybe confusion, but also something that feels real, something that feels like freedom. The words of the priest fade as Leo takes a shallow breath. He turns his head, his eyes shifting quickly across the crowd, then back to Sophia. A fleeting moment, one look, and that's all it takes for him to make a decision he knows could change everything. The pressure on his chest tightens. He leans slightly toward her, his voice barely a whisper, but the urgency is palpable. "Please, fake date me. Just for a few minutes. I need to escape this wedding. Can you help me?" The room spins around him. Sophia's face is a mix of surprise and hesitation, and for a moment, the noise of the wedding fades as time seems to stretch out. A moment that could decide their fates. She hesitates. The weight of the decision hangs heavy in the air. Sophia, an artist with her own struggles, had come here by chance. She had no intention of being part of a billionaire's world. No intention of being dragged into the tangled web of deceit and obligation. But here she stands, confronted by a man desperate to break free from the life that's been forced upon him. A man who, for the first time in a long while, isn't pretending. As the priest continues, oblivious to the silent exchange unfolding, the tension thickens. Sophia's heart races. She didn't expect to be caught up in a billionaire's world, didn't expect to be asked to step into a role that could change everything. But her thoughts are cut short as the moment stretches, and she feels her resolve waver. Leo's voice is low, but filled with something raw, something real. His plea is desperate, but beneath the surface, there's a glimmer of something more. Something beyond the wedding. Something beyond the control his family has over him. Sophia finally nods, her resolve solidifying. She can't say no. Not now. "Okay," she says quietly, just loud enough for him to hear. And in that single, simple exchange, their worlds collide. The game has changed. The wedding reception is in full swing, but the opulence around them feels suffocating. The laughter, the clinking glasses, the endless chatter, none of it reaches Leo. His eyes flicker toward the back of the room where Sophia now stands, looking out of place among the extravagant guests. Her dress, beautiful yet simple, gives her an air of understated elegance that seems almost too real for this world of wealth and pretense. As the reception continues, Leo slips away from the crowd, his mind racing. He finds an empty corner in a dimly lit hallway, hidden from the prying eyes of his family. His pulse quickens. This is it, the moment he's been waiting for. Sophia approaches cautiously, her curiosity mingling with a trace of nervousness. She stops a few feet away from him, looking at him with the same hesitation she had when he first made his plea. Leo runs a hand through his hair, struggling to find the right words. He wants to explain everything, the suffocating pressure from his father, the family's expectations, the life that's been laid out for him with no room for choice. But the words get stuck in his throat. Instead, he just looks at her, desperate and raw. "Why?" she asks, breaking the silence. "Why me? You could have asked anyone. Why a complete stranger?" Leo takes a deep breath, his eyes never leaving hers. "I don't know," he admits, voice low. "Maybe it's because you're the only one here who doesn't have an agenda. Everyone else wants something from me. Except you. You're just you. And that's enough." Sophia looks down, clearly trying to process what he's saying. Her life has always been a series of hustle and grind, and being asked to play a part in someone else's carefully constructed world feels like stepping into a dream she doesn't belong to. But there's something magnetic about him, something in his eyes that tells her he's trapped in a way she can't even begin to understand. She raises an eyebrow, her voice tinged with skepticism. "You're asking me to pretend, for a few minutes, like it's nothing, like it won't change everything." Leo shakes his head, frustration evident in his expression. "I wish it were that simple," he murmurs. "But I can't keep going like this. I can't marry Charlotte, not like this, not for them." Sophia's heart skips a beat as the gravity of the situation settles in. She knows she's being drawn into something bigger than her. She's not just helping a billionaire escape a wedding. She's helping him escape a life that's been scripted for him from the moment he was born. Her instincts tell her to walk away. She doesn't belong here. This world isn't hers. But her curiosity and the desperate plea in Leo's voice keep her rooted in place. "So, what exactly are you asking me to do?" she asks, her voice steady, even though her stomach churns with uncertainty. Leo's eyes darken, and for a moment, he looks like a man who has lost everything. "Just for a few minutes," he says quietly. "Come with me. Pretend to be my girlfriend, just long enough to get me out of here without causing a scene. I can't face her, not like this, not in front of everyone." Sophia's lips part, but she's at a loss for words. It's reckless. It's absurd. Yet, as she looks into Leo's eyes, she sees a vulnerability that shakes her. She exhales slowly, weighing the options. There's money on the table, a large sum, enough to change things for her and her mother. The possibility of freedom. But at what cost? The line between doing a favor and getting swept into something far bigger than herself is starting to blur. Without another word, she nods. "Okay, I'll do it. But this stays between us. I'm not here for anything else." Leo's eyes flicker with a hint of relief, but his expression quickly becomes serious again. "Thank you. This won't be easy, Sophia. You don't know what you're getting into." She stares back at him, determination in her eyes. "I think I have a pretty good idea." As Leo leads her back to the ballroom, Sophia's mind is spinning. This isn't just a fake date. It's a lifeline for both of them. But she can't shake the feeling that she's stepping into a storm. And storms, no matter how exciting, always leave destruction in their wake. The ballroom is breathtaking, a sea of polished marble, gold accents, and towering floral arrangements. Guests in tuxedos and gowns glide across the floor, their laughter mingling with the soft music playing in the background. The room hums with the kind of high society energy Leo has grown so accustomed to. But tonight, it feels different. Like an unbearable weight hanging in the air, one that presses down on him with every step he takes. Sophia walks beside him, her heels clicking lightly against the marble floor. She stands out, though not in the way most people expect. Her dress is understated yet elegant, her makeup minimal. But there's something about her that doesn't belong in this world of perfection and pretense. She's a stark contrast to the perfectly manicured guests around her, and Leo can't help but feel that in a room full of false smiles and hidden motives, she's the only real thing. The buzz in the room is palpable. Whispers and glances are exchanged as Leo and Sophia walk arm in arm. They don't belong here, not really, and yet, for these few minutes, they are the center of attention. Sophia's heart races as she realizes the enormity of what she's doing. She doesn't belong in this world. She's a photographer, scraping by in a city that chews up dreams. But tonight, she's pretending to be someone else, someone powerful, someone who belongs. She's playing a role, and with each passing second, it feels less like pretending and more like something else entirely. A sharp voice cuts through her thoughts. Leo. Charlotte Vanetti, his supposed bride-to-be, stands before them, her arms crossed, her smile as cold as her perfectly styled hair. Her icy blue eyes scan Sophia with undisguised contempt. The smile on Charlotte's face doesn't reach her eyes, but she's playing the part of the perfect fiancée. The question in her voice is thinly veiled beneath a layer of politeness. "Who's this?" she asks, eyeing Sophia with scrutiny. "I didn't realize you were bringing a guest." Leo stands stiffly, his jaw tight. "Charlotte, this is Sophia McAllister. She's helping me with something." His words are careful, measured. He can't show weakness, not in front of her. Charlotte's eyes narrow, her gaze flicking between Leo and Sophia. "Helping you?" she repeats, her voice laced with disbelief. "How charming." Her smile doesn't soften. In fact, it becomes more razor-sharp. Sophia feels the weight of Charlotte's gaze, the subtle undertone of suspicion, the thinly veiled challenge. She knows she's being judged, but she holds her ground. She doesn't want to be here. She didn't want any of this. But the truth is, she's more than a little curious about the man standing next to her. "Leo, I thought we'd agreed this wedding would be private. A small, intimate affair," Charlotte continues, her voice dripping with forced sweetness. "But I see you've made quite the entrance." She glances at the crowd, noticing the stares and whispers that have already begun. It's clear she's not pleased, but there's a momentary flicker of something. Jealousy, perhaps. Sophia stands awkwardly beside Leo, feeling like a fish out of water. This entire world feels alien to her. She's not supposed to be here, playing the role of a fake girlfriend. She's not supposed to be standing in front of the future wife, feeling the sting of judgment. But as Charlotte's eyes cut into her, something inside Sophia snaps. Charlotte's smirk falters for just a moment, but it's enough for Leo to see. He steps closer to Sophia, placing a protective hand on her arm. The gesture is subtle but speaks volumes. He's done with playing games. He's done with pretending that this is anything other than what it is. "We'll be fine, Charlotte," Leo says, his voice firm. "But thank you for your concern." He turns away without giving her a chance to respond, leading Sophia further into the crowd. As they move past Charlotte, Sophia can't help but glance back. Charlotte's gaze is cold, calculating, and filled with barely contained fury. The tension in the air is thick, but as they walk further into the room, Sophia starts to breathe again. She wasn't sure she could handle that. But Leo's presence, the way he shielded her, gave her a small sense of security. Still, the questions are mounting. What's really going on here? Why did Leo ask her to do this? And more importantly, what happens next? They stop in front of a massive window that overlooks the city. The bright lights of Manhattan glisten in the distance, the skyline a jagged silhouette against the dark sky. For a moment, everything feels still. Sophia looks at Leo, her mind racing. "What happens now?" she asks softly. Leo looks out over the city, his expression unreadable. For a moment, he says nothing. Then finally, he speaks. "Now," he says, his voice low, "we play the part." The wedding reception hums along like a well-oiled machine, with guests mingling, laughter echoing, and champagne flowing freely. Yet, beneath the polished surface, the tension is palpable. As the night stretches on, Leo's mind races, his earlier conversation with Sophia still echoing in his thoughts. The connection they shared in those fleeting moments is undeniable. But now, it's a different kind of pressure mounting. Leo's eyes scan the room. but his thoughts are far from the glittering guests and the extravagant chandeliers above. He can barely focus on the conversations around him. All he can think about is the way his life has been hijacked by his family's expectations, by Charlotte's manipulations, and by his father's iron grip on everything Leo has ever known. He needs answers, and he's about to get them. Excusing himself from the crowd, Leo slips away to the side of the ballroom, heading toward a quiet hallway. He doesn't want to confront Charlotte just yet. He's not sure he's ready to make his move. But there's something nagging at him, a sense that all the answers lie behind a door he's been avoiding for too long. As Leo walks through the hallway, the voices of his father and Charlotte spill from behind a partially closed door. Leo's heart stops. He freezes, hearing their conversation, a conversation he wasn't supposed to hear. Leo's pulling away. Charlotte's voice is crisp, filled with concern that doesn't quite sound sincere. We need to do something before this wedding falls apart. Leo's father, Malcolm Wright, responds coldly. It doesn't matter. The deal is already in place. Once he's married, the merger goes through. His feelings are irrelevant. He'll fall in line. The weight of their words hits Leo like a punch to the gut. His father and Charlotte, two of the people he's trusted, are using him as a pawn. He's not getting married for love. He's not even getting married for himself. He's getting married because it's the only way his father's business deal can succeed. Leo's too stubborn, Charlotte adds, a slight edge of frustration in her tone. If he doesn't marry me, everything could unravel. Malcolm's voice lowers, laced with a dangerous calm. He won't get away. He'll marry you, and we'll secure the deal. And if he resists, we'll make sure he understands the consequences. The room is suddenly too quiet. Leo's heart pounds in his chest. The weight of his father's words crashes over him, making the air feel thick with betrayal. The wedding isn't just a public event. It's the culmination of years of manipulation, an orchestrated power play to ensure the success of a business deal. His entire life has been a lie. His chest tightens, a mix of anger and disbelief rising within him. His father, the man he's been trying to please his entire life, has sold him out for money. And Charlotte, his supposed fiancée, the woman he's been pressured into marrying, is nothing more than a pawn in her family's scheme. Leo's fingers curl into fists, and his breath comes faster, a storm of emotion brewing inside him. But before he can react, a voice behind him catches his attention. Sophia. Leo? She calls softly, stepping into the hallway. Her voice is hesitant, unsure of what she's walked into. She pauses when she sees the expression on his face. Something darker than she's ever seen before. Leo turns to face her, his jaw set tight, the weight of his discoveries hanging heavy on his shoulders. I overheard something, Leo begins, his voice low but steady. Something that changes everything. Sophia takes a tentative step closer, concern flickering across her face. What happened? Leo exhales, running a hand through his hair. I can't marry her. I can't marry Charlotte. This isn't just a wedding. It's a business deal. My father and Charlotte are using me to secure a merger. My life, my future, all of it, is nothing more than a transaction. Sophia's eyes widen in shock, but there's an understanding in her gaze. She steps forward, standing beside him. So, you're not just trapped in a marriage. You're trapped in a life that was never yours to begin with. Leo nods, the weight of the words finally sinking in. Exactly. And I don't know how to get out of this. Sophia's voice softens, but there's a fierce determination in her eyes. You don't have to do this alone, Leo. But you need to make a choice. For yourself. Not for your family. Not for Charlotte. For you. Leo looks at her, his emotions raw and vulnerable. He's never felt this exposed before. But in this moment, with Sophia standing beside him, it feels like a weight is finally starting to lift. He's not alone. I don't know what comes next, he admits, the uncertainty in his voice unmistakable. But I do know that I can't stay in this world, playing their game. Not anymore. Sophia takes a deep breath, the tension in her shoulders easing slightly. Then we figure this out. Together. The promise of something more, Something real lingers in the air between them. For the first time in a long time, Leo feels a sense of possibility, a sense of freedom, however fragile it may be. But as they turn to leave the hallway, they don't see the shadowy figure watching them from the doorway. Charlotte. She stands there, her face a mask of controlled fury. Her lips curl into a tight smile, her eyes flashing with something cold and calculating. This isn't over, her expression seems to say. Not by a long shot. The stakes have just been raised. What will Leo and Sophia do next? Will they escape the trap, or is it already too late? Stay tuned for the next twist. Hit subscribe and let us know where you're watching from. Comment below. Do you think they can make it out of this mess? The night carries on. But the air between Leo and Sophia is charged with something more than just tension. As the reception flows around them, the once vibrant world of gold-plated champagne glasses and sparkling gowns seems distant, irrelevant. All Leo can focus on is the woman by his side, Sophia, the woman who, despite her misgivings, has chosen to stand by him. They move through the crowd, their steps synchronized almost effortlessly. Leo catches glimpses of Charlotte's icy stare from across the room. She's watching them, and Leo can feel the quiet fury simmering beneath her calm exterior. But it doesn't matter. Not anymore. Sophia glances up at him, her expression unreadable. "What now?" she asks, her voice low, though the question is clear. The night is still far from over, and the role they're playing hasn't yet ended. Yet, beneath the surface, something is shifting. Leo looks at her, and for the first time since the wedding began, he feels a flicker of hope. It's not just the escape he craves. It's her. The way she sees him. The way she doesn't expect anything from him other than the truth. For the first time in ages, Leo feels like someone is seeing him for who he really is. Not as a billionaire or a puppet in his family's game, but as a man who has lost his way and is trying to find it again. He opens his mouth to speak, but is interrupted by a loud burst of laughter from nearby guests. They're talking about a new business venture, but Leo doesn't care. His thoughts are consumed by the woman beside him. Sophia notices his gaze, her brow furrowing slightly. She can see the distance in his eyes, the battle raging inside of him. The vulnerability that Leo has allowed her to witness has changed something between them. She wasn't expecting to feel anything. This was supposed to be simple. Just a favor, a brief escape. But as the minutes tick by, she realizes that she's gotten in deeper than she planned. She's beginning to care. "I'm sorry," Leo says, his voice soft but filled with an honesty that catches Sophia off guard. "I didn't mean to drag you into this mess, but I don't know who else to turn to." Sophia looks up at him, her eyes filled with a mix of compassion and caution. "Leo, you don't have to apologize. This isn't your fault. You didn't choose this life. But you do have a choice now. You're not alone in this." There's a moment of silence as their gazes lock. The music fades into the background, the sounds of the wedding a dull hum. It's just the two of them, standing in the midst of a celebration that feels like a prison. Leo takes a slow breath, the weight of her words sinking in. "I've been living a life I didn't choose for too long," he admits, the vulnerability in his voice raw. "I've spent so long trying to please everyone, my family, the business, everyone except myself. And now, I don't know how to break free." Sophia steps closer, her hand brushing against his lightly. It's a simple touch, but the connection is undeniable. It sends a jolt through Leo, a reminder that he's not in this alone. He doesn't have to be. "You don't have to have all the answers, Leo," she says softly, her voice reassuring. "You just need to make one decision. To be honest with yourself, and the rest will follow." Her words hit harder than he expects, and for a brief moment, he finds himself standing in front of her, unsure of how to move forward. But he knows deep down that Sophia is right. The decision isn't about the wedding or the deal his family has planned. It's about taking control of his own life again. Before Leo can respond, there's a sudden shift in the atmosphere. Charlotte appears at his side, her sharp heels clicking on the marble floor as she approaches with a smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. She's not happy to see them this close, Leo can tell. Leo. Charlotte's voice is sweet, but there's an underlying bitterness that's hard to ignore. You've been a little too distant tonight. We should talk, privately. Sophia steps back, her jaw tightening. She doesn't look at Charlotte, but the tension between them is palpable. Charlotte's eyes flick from Sophia to Leo. The unspoken challenge hanging in the air. Leo's instinct is to resist, to push Charlotte away, but the public nature of their relationship makes everything complicated. He takes a step toward Charlotte, his jaw set, and his voice low but firm. We're not having this conversation now, Charlotte. Not here. Sophia's heart pounds in her chest as she watches them. It's clear that Leo's relationship with Charlotte isn't just about love. It's about control. Charlotte's manipulations, her icy grip on Leo, are more dangerous than Sophia first realized. Charlotte, seeing the resolve in Leo's eyes, smiles thinly. You think you can just walk away from this, Leo? She sneers. You think you can choose anyone over me? Leo's posture stiffens, but before he can respond, Sophia steps forward, her voice steady. This wedding wasn't a choice, Charlotte. It's a business deal, nothing more. The room falls silent as the weight of her words hits like a bomb. Charlotte's expression hardens, but she doesn't respond immediately. Instead, she turns and walks away, the sound of her heels fading into the distance. Sophia looks at Leo, her breath shaky but resolute. That was too close. We need to move, before this entire thing blows up in your face. Leo nods, his thoughts racing. For the first time tonight, he feels a sense of clarity. This isn't just about the wedding. It's about taking control of his own destiny. And with Sophia by his side, he might just have a chance to escape. The night seems to drag on in a blur of forced smiles and empty pleasantries. Leo and Sophia drift further from the wedding spotlight, navigating their way through the labyrinth of guests who have no idea what's happening beneath the surface. Every now and then, Leo catches sight of Charlotte, her cold gaze following them like a hawk. But he doesn't care anymore. Something has shifted. For the first time, Leo feels like he's truly living, not just existing in a world built by his father's expectations. And the one person who has made him feel this way, Sophia, has become something he never imagined. She wasn't supposed to matter this much. But she does. More than he's willing to admit. Sophia, too, can feel the change between them. What started as a simple favor, pretend to be his girlfriend for a few minutes, has now become something more complex, something real. She can't deny it. The way Leo looks at her, the way his touch lingers just a moment too long, the way he confides in her, it makes her feel like she's finally seen, not as a pawn or a nobody, but as someone worth knowing. But there's a catch. Sophia isn't blind to the situation. She knows that this isn't just about a fake date. It never was. She has her own reasons for agreeing to help Leo, reasons that go deeper than money or power. The truth is, she's not just running away from her own struggles. She's running from a past that still holds its grip on her. As they step out onto a quiet balcony overlooking the city, the chill of the evening air cuts through the warmth of the reception. The city lights flicker below, a contrast to the dark clouds forming in Sophia's mind. Leo, she begins, her voice softer than usual. There's something I need to tell you. Leo turns to face her, concern in his eyes. What is it? She hesitates, taking a deep breath. The words she's been holding on to for years feel heavier than ever. This isn't just about helping you escape the wedding, she says, her gaze avoiding his. I have a personal reason for being here, for helping you. Leo steps closer, sensing the change in her tone. What do you mean? Sophia finally meets his eyes, her own dark with the weight of her past. Charlotte's family, your fiancé's family, they ruined my mother's career. She was an artist, a well-known gallery owner. But Charlotte's father did everything he could to destroy her. He sabotaged her shows, spread lies, and made sure she was blacklisted in the art world. Leo's breath catches in his chest, the realization hitting him hard. What? I had no idea. Charlotte's family, they did that to you? Sophia nods, her eyes glistening with unshed tears, though she refuses to let them fall. It's why I'm so angry. I'm not just playing some role in your game. I'm trying to take back something they took from me. This is my chance to make them pay. Leo's heart sinks. All along, he thought he was the only one trapped by family expectations. But now he understands that Sophia's pain runs deeper than his own. She's not just helping him escape. She's trying to reclaim something she lost, something personal. I had no idea, Leo whispers, his voice laced with regret. I'm sorry, Sophia. I had no idea the extent of what they did to you. She shakes her head, her face hardening with resolve. It's not your fault, but it's why I can't just walk away from this. Helping you. It's my way of getting back at them, of taking control of my own life. I won't let them destroy everything. Leo steps closer, his hand reaching for hers. You're not alone in this. I don't care about the wedding. I don't care about the deal. I care about you, and I'll fight for you, no matter what. The intensity of his words hits her harder than she expects. It's not just sympathy, not just gratitude. It's something deeper, something that makes her heart race in a way she hasn't felt in years. But there's a problem. She's still not entirely sure where this will go. She's not sure if Leo truly understands the danger they're in, or if he's just looking for an escape from his own demons. As if on cue, the sound of heels clicking on the stone floor interrupts their moment. They turn, and there, standing in the doorway, is Charlotte. Her smile is sweet, but there's something venomous about it. Leo, there you are, she says, her eyes flicking to Sophia with barely concealed disdain. I've been looking for you. We need to talk, now. Leo's jaw tightens, but he doesn't move. What about? Charlotte steps into the space between them, her gaze locking with Sophia's. About this little charade you've been putting on, she says, her voice low, yet full of ice. Don't think I didn't notice. You've been playing your part a little too well, haven't you? Sophia stands her ground, her pulse quickening. She won't back down. Not now. I'm not playing anything, Sophia says, her voice steady but with an edge of defiance. I'm just here as Leo's guest, just like everyone else. Charlotte's smile doesn't falter, but there's a dangerous gleam in her eyes. Well, don't get too comfortable. Your little game ends tonight. Sophia feels a chill run down her spine. Something in Charlotte's words makes her uneasy, but she refuses to show it. She's not leaving, not without finding a way to bring Charlotte's manipulation to light. Leo steps forward, his protective instinct flaring up. You need to stop this, Charlotte, now. Charlotte's eyes narrow, a hint of malice creeping into her gaze. Oh, don't worry, Leo. The wedding's still on. You're not getting out of it. But as for her... She glances at Sophia, her voice dripping with disdain. I'm not done with you yet. With that, Charlotte turns and walks back inside, leaving Leo and Sophia standing in the cold night air, the weight of her threat lingering in the silence between them. The tension in the air is palpable, like a storm about to break. Leo and Sophia stand in the cold, the city lights flickering behind them. But it's the shadow of Charlotte's threat that looms over them, heavy and suffocating. The reception is still in full swing, but neither of them feels like they belong in that glittering world anymore. Sophia shivers slightly, not from the cold, but from the ominous words Charlotte left hanging in the air. Her stomach churns with uncertainty. Charlotte's threats are no empty words. There's a venom behind them, a cold calculation that goes beyond simple jealousy. This is a battle for control, and Sophia knows she's become an unwilling pawn in the game. Leo, on the other hand, is seething. The woman he thought he was marrying, the woman he thought was his ally, has turned into a manipulative force, just as ruthless and cold as his father. And now, with every passing second, the life he's been forced into feels less and less like his own. As they walk back inside, the ballroom feels more like a cage than ever. The laughter, the chatter, the clinking of glasses, it all sounds so hollow. Sophia can feel the weight of the stares from the guests as they move through the room, but she keeps her eyes forward, determined not to let them see how unnerved she truly is. Leo moves with purpose, But his mind is racing. The conversation he overheard earlier, the revelation about his family's intentions, has left him questioning everything. For the first time in his life, he feels the need to break free, but he doesn't know how. Sophia catches his eye. She sees the conflict inside him, the struggle between his sense of duty and his desire to escape. She knows he's torn, and part of her understands that the weight of his family's expectations is something she'll never fully comprehend. But she can't ignore the spark between them. It's undeniable, and it grows stronger with every passing second. Their proximity, the way their hands brush as they walk, the glances they share, it all feels like it's leading them somewhere they can't turn back from. She doesn't know if she's ready for it, but she also doesn't know how to stop it. As they near the center of the room, Charlotte appears again, her presence like a dark cloud. She's flanked by a few of her friends, all wearing the same calculating smiles. Charlotte's eyes flicker to Sophia, and then to Leo, before she smiles, sweet but deadly. "Leo," she purrs, her voice thick with sugar-coated venom. "We need to talk. Privately." She glances at Sophia, her eyes narrowing. "Alone." Sophia feels her blood run cold. She knows exactly what's coming, a confrontation she's been dreading ever since Charlotte caught onto their charade. But this time, it's different. There's no pretending anymore. There's no polite smile or forced conversation. This is the moment when the truth will come crashing down. Leo's jaw tightens, but he doesn't back away. "No, Charlotte," he says, his voice quiet but firm. "I've had enough. I'm done playing your game." The room seems to hold its breath as Charlotte's smile falters. She steps closer to him, her voice dropping to a dangerously low tone. "You think you can just walk away? From this wedding? From me?" Her words slice through the air like a knife. Sophia steps forward, feeling the heat of Charlotte's gaze on her. She won't let Leo face this alone. She won't let him be cornered like this. "Charlotte," Sophia says, her voice steady but not without edge. "You've had control over him for long enough. This isn't about you anymore. It never was." Charlotte's eyes flash with fury, but she quickly masks it with a tight smile. "You're right. This wedding isn't just about me. It's about us, about what's best for Leo. And if you think I'm just going to let you destroy everything I've worked for, you're sadly mistaken." Sophia can feel the danger in the air, thick and suffocating. She's never been good with confrontation, but she's done hiding. Not this time. "What's best for Leo?" she asks, her voice laced with disbelief. "You don't care about what's best for him. You only care about what you can gain. And if that means controlling him, using him for your own gain, then you'll do whatever it takes." Charlotte's smile wavers for a fraction of a second, but it's enough to show the cracks in her facade. Her hand clenches into a fist, but she doesn't lash out. Instead, she looks at Leo, her expression colder now. "You don't understand, Leo. You never have. This wedding is your only way out of your father's control. It's the only way you'll have any real power. Don't let her talk you out of it." Leo feels a jolt of realization hit him like a ton of bricks. This isn't just about love. This isn't even about freedom. This is about power. And Charlotte has been manipulating him from the very start, using his weakness, his need for approval, to control his every move. He turns to Sophia, the woman who has been nothing but honest with him. The woman who stood by him, even when he didn't deserve it. And in that moment, he knows what he has to do. "I'm done, Charlotte," he says, his voice calm but firm. "I'm done being your puppet. I'm done with this wedding, and I'm done with your games." The room goes silent. Charlotte's face tightens, her lips thinning with rage. But Leo doesn't flinch. He's done running. Sophia steps closer to him, her eyes meeting his, and for the first time since this whole mess began, Leo feels like he's standing on solid ground. He's not alone. He has her by his side. Charlotte opens her mouth to speak, but Leo cuts her off. "I'm leaving, and I'm taking my life back." The words hang in the air like a declaration of war. Charlotte's eyes narrow, her lips curling into a tight, controlled smile. But Leo knows better now. He knows the cost of silence, of letting others dictate his path. "Good luck, Leo," Charlotte says, her voice low, full of venom. "But you won't be able to escape us. Not this time." With that, she turns on her heel and walks away, her back straight, her eyes shooting daggers in their direction. Leo exhales sharply, his body shaking with the intensity of what just happened. He's free, finally free from the cage he's been trapped in for so long. Sophia looks at him, her face a mixture of relief and concern. "Are you sure about this?" she asks, her voice quiet. Leo takes a deep breath, looking around the room, at the life he's been living for so long. He looks back at Sophia, and for the first time in ages, he feels like he's in control of his own destiny. "I'm sure," he says. "It's time to make my own choices." The tension in the room is thick, like a storm just waiting to break. Leo stands there, his words still hanging in the air, while Sophia watches him with a mix of awe and apprehension. His declaration to walk away from everything, the wedding, his family, his obligations, has set something in motion, and now there's no turning back. But as Charlotte's cold, venomous gaze fades into the distance, the reality of Leo's decision begins to sink in. The world he's known, the life he's been forced to live, is unraveling before him, and the fear of what comes next gnaws at him. Sophia steps closer to him, her voice a soft whisper against the rising din of the wedding. "Leo, what now? What do we do next?" Her words are simple, but they cut through the fog in his mind. What now? For the first time in his life, Leo has a choice, and the weight of that choice feels heavier than anything he's ever faced before. "I don't know," Leo admits, his voice strained with the uncertainty of it all. "But I can't go back to that life. I can't be the man they want me to be anymore." Sophia nods, understanding the magnitude of his words. She's not in this for him to play the hero. She's not even sure what she's looking for anymore. But the one thing she knows is that they're in this together now. The line between what's fake and what's real has blurred, and there's no separating their fates. The ballroom around them continues to buzz with life, oblivious to the storm that's just been unleashed. The sounds of laughter and clinking glasses feel distant, almost foreign, as the world that Leo and Sophia knew begins to slip away. But just as Leo and Sophia begin to turn toward the exit, ready to leave this masquerade behind, a voice stops them dead in their tracks. "Leaving already?" It's Malcolm Wright, Leo's father. His towering figure looms behind them, his presence suffocating. His voice is as cold and calculated as always, but the anger beneath it is unmistakable. "Father," Leo says, his voice steady despite the unease in his chest. "We need to talk." Malcolm's eyes flicker to Sophia, then back to Leo, his lips curling into a tight, thin smile. "We can talk, but not here. Not now." He motions toward the crowd. "Not in front of all these people. You've already made enough of a spectacle." Sophia's heart beats faster. She can feel the weight of the moment, the pressure in the air. This isn't just a conversation. This is a confrontation, a battle for control over Leo's life, a life his father has been steering for years. "I'm not staying for the rest of this charade, Father," Leo says, his tone hardening. "I'm done with it. You can't control me anymore." Malcolm's smile falters, just slightly, but the fury that flashes in his eyes is enough to make the room feel colder. He steps closer, his voice dropping lower, more dangerous now. "You think you can just walk away, Leo? Do you think you can escape what's been laid out for you? You don't have the strength to walk away from this. You can't." Leo holds his ground, his jaw clenched. "I'm walking away from it. All of it." Sophia feels a tremor of fear, but she doesn't let it show. She's seen the way Malcolm Wright operates, ruthless, manipulative, and willing to go to any lengths to maintain control. She knows this isn't just about Leo's choice. It's about the power his family has over him. And power doesn't let go easily. "Leo," Malcolm continues, his voice now a sharp whisper that only the two of them can hear. "You're making a mistake. If you walk away from this marriage, you'll lose everything. Your fortune, your status, your company. It'll all be gone. And she, he motions toward Sophia, his eyes narrowing, won't save you. She's just as disposable as the rest. Sophia's breath catches in her throat, the sting of his words cutting deeper than she'd like to admit. But she stands tall, locking eyes with Malcolm. She won't back down. Not now. Not ever. You don't know anything about me, she says quietly, but with conviction. And you don't control Leo. Not anymore. Malcolm's eyes flicker, just for a moment, with something like fury. He takes a step forward, his presence so imposing it almost feels suffocating. But then, just as quickly, he composes himself, smoothing out his jacket as he steps back. You think this is over, Leo? Malcolm's voice is almost a whisper, but it's thick with threat. You don't walk away from the Wright family. You don't just walk away from me. Leo's eyes darken, his fists clenched at his sides. I'm walking away, and you can't stop me. But Malcolm doesn't back off. He stands there, eyes locked on Leo with cold, calculating rage. We'll see about that, he says, his words cold and final. You're going to regret this, Leo. You'll see just how deep my reach goes. No matter how far you run, you'll never escape me. Or this life. Malcolm turns on his heel and walks away, leaving Leo and Sophia standing there, the weight of his words lingering in the air like a dark cloud. Leo exhales sharply, the adrenaline still coursing through him. I thought I was free, he says, his voice tight with frustration. I thought I could leave it all behind. Sophia looks up at him, her voice steady. You can leave it behind, but it won't be easy. They'll fight you every step of the way. Leo nods, his jaw set in determination. I'm ready for that fight. But as they stand there, surrounded by the looming shadow of Malcolm's threat, neither of them is certain how this battle will end. All Leo knows is that the price of freedom is steep, and he's willing to pay it. The grand ballroom seems smaller now, suffocating, as Leo and Sophia stand in its center. The world around them, rich, gilded, and full of smiles, feels foreign. Every clink of champagne glasses, every polite laugh from the guests, now sounds like an echo from a world Leo can no longer belong to. Charlotte is nowhere to be seen, but her presence lingers like an unseen storm cloud. Leo can still feel her glare, still hear her threat, and it gnaws at him, reminding him of the immense pressure he's under. This isn't just about a fake wedding anymore. This is about choosing who he wants to be. It's about deciding to break free, once and for all, from a life that was never his own. Sophia, standing next to him, is still processing everything. Her role in this chaos, her feelings for Leo, and the uncertain future that looms before them. There's no turning back now. She's in as deep as he is. And despite the fear creeping up her spine, she knows she's right where she needs to be. But as they stand there, it's clear that the battle has only just begun. Leo's family won't let him go so easily. And Charlotte's warning still echoes in his ears, a chilling reminder that the consequences of his actions have only just started to unfold. You need to talk to him, Sophia says quietly, breaking the silence between them. Leo looks at her, his face hardening. He knows exactly who she's referring to. Malcolm? He asks, his voice low, heavy with the weight of what's to come. Sophia nods. Yes. You can't keep running from this, Leo. You have to face him. Leo clenches his fists at his sides, his jaw tight. I can't face him. Not the way he wants me to. I'm not his puppet anymore. I won't play by his rules. Sophia steps closer, her voice soft but firm. You're not playing by anyone's rules. You're choosing yourself. And that's the hardest part, Leo. You have to stand up for yourself, not just for your freedom, but for the life you want to build. Leo's gaze softens as he looks at her, gratitude in his eyes. She's right. He's been running from this fight for too long, terrified of the consequences, terrified of what his family will do. But he can't keep running. Not anymore. I'm ready, he says quietly, finally finding the resolve he needs. But it's not just about me. It's about you too, Sophia. You're in this with me now, and we're both going to have to fight to make it out. Sophia meets his gaze, and for a moment, time seems to stop. There's an unspoken understanding between them now, a bond that has grown stronger with every shared glance, every whispered word. They're no longer just two people caught in a game. They're allies, partners, and together, they'll face whatever comes next. Just as they're about to make their move, a familiar voice cuts through the air. "You're not leaving this wedding, Leo." It's Charlotte. She stands at the entrance to the ballroom, her posture rigid with anger, her eyes blazing with fury. She's finally cornered him, and she won't let him go without a fight. Sophia instinctively steps forward, her body tensing as she stands beside Leo. This isn't just about the wedding anymore. This is about survival. And Charlotte's presence here, at this moment, confirms what they both feared. Charlotte is going to do everything in her power to make sure Leo stays right where she wants him. Leo exhales, a heavy sigh escaping him as he turns to face her, his voice steady. "I'm leaving, Charlotte. I'm done with this. You're not going to control me anymore." Charlotte laughs bitterly, the sound cold and hollow. "You think you can just walk away? Do you know what this wedding means to my family? Do you know what it means for us?" She gestures to herself, her icy smile never faltering. "You're not walking away, Leo. You're too important. Too valuable. And you'll never have the guts to leave." Sophia steps in front of Leo, her voice firm. "You don't control him. You never did. And you're not going to anymore. He's free to make his own choices." Charlotte's eyes flare with rage, and for a moment, it looks like she might lunge at Sophia. But instead she steps back, her face twisting with venomous rage. "You'll regret this," she spits, her words laced with the kind of threat that cuts deeper than any physical blow. "You think you can just walk away from everything you've built? From me?" Leo holds his ground, his voice unwavering. "I've already regretted living a life I didn't choose, Charlotte. I won't regret this. I won't regret choosing myself." Charlotte's smile fades, replaced by a cold, calculating look. "You'll regret it, Leo. Trust me. You'll see." She turns on her heel and walks away, her footsteps echoing through the ballroom as she disappears into the crowd. Leo stands still for a moment, his breath shallow. He's done. It's over. Charlotte's threats may linger, but for the first time in a long while, Leo feels something he hasn't in years. Freedom. The feeling is foreign, exhilarating, and terrifying all at once. Sophia stands beside him, her hand resting lightly on his arm, offering a silent form of support. He looks at her, gratitude and fear in his eyes. "Thank you," he says quietly. Sophia smiles, her voice calm but resolute. "No thank you necessary. We're in this together now, and I'm not going anywhere." For a brief moment, the weight of their shared journey, the battle ahead, the unknowns, and the obstacles, feels lighter. They don't know what comes next. But for the first time in their lives, they're standing side by side, fighting for their freedom, together. But as Leo looks around the room, he knows the battle is far from over. The wedding may be over, but the war for his future, and for Sophia's, has only just begun. The night feels different now. There's a heaviness that lingers in the air, like the calm before a storm. Leo stands at the edge of the ballroom, his mind racing with what he's just done. He's stood up to his father. He's walked away from a life that's been planned for him since birth. But as the cold reality sets in, he feels the weight of his choices. Sophia stands beside him, her eyes steady, but he can see the fear in her gaze. They've both crossed a line tonight, and they know there's no going back. The threat from Charlotte still lingers like a shadow. And Leo knows it's not just about him anymore. It's about everything they've both built, everything they stand to lose. "So," Sophia says, breaking the silence. "Now what?" Leo exhales sharply, his hands trembling slightly. He's been running from this moment for so long, but now that it's here, he's not sure what to do next. The wedding is over, but the battle is far from won. "We need to get out of here," Leo says, his voice tight. "My family. They won't just let this go. They'll come after me. After both of us." Sophia nods, her expression serious. She's been in situations where escape was the only option, But this is different. They're not running from a dangerous situation. They're running from the very life they've known, and the stakes are higher than ever. "Where will we go?" she asks, her voice barely above a whisper. Leo's mind is already working overtime, trying to plot the next move. His father will never let him go without a fight. Charlotte won't stop either. The only way to truly break free is to disappear, to leave everything behind, his wealth, his name, his family. "There's a place," Leo says, his eyes narrowing in thought. "A cabin in the mountains. It's secluded, off the grid. I can't risk staying here, not with them watching." Sophia listens intently, weighing his words. The idea of running away seems like the only viable option, but it also feels like they're running from their own lives, the lives they've built, or the lives that have been built for them. It's terrifying, but it's also exhilarating. "Will it be enough?" she asks. "To get away, I mean. Will they just let you go?" Leo's eyes harden, his jaw tightening. "They won't let me go easily, but they won't find us there, not unless we're careless." Sophia nods again, the plan starting to feel more concrete. But the fear is still there, lurking beneath the surface. This isn't just about escaping the wedding. It's about everything they've known. The lives, the power, the people who control them. The future they've both been handed is suddenly ripped away, and they're left with only each other. "I'm with you," she says, her voice strong. "Let's go." Leo turns to face her, gratitude filling his chest. "You don't have to do this, Sophia. You can walk away, go back to your life." But Sophia shakes her head. "This is my life now. I'm not going anywhere. I made my choice, Leo, and I'm sticking with it." A sense of resolve settles between them. It's not just about survival anymore. It's about freedom. It's about choosing their own future, even if that means walking away from everything they've ever known. The next few hours pass in a blur. Leo arranges everything: his car, a few essentials, and enough money to get them through the next few weeks. He's never done anything like this before. Everything has always been taken care of for him. But tonight, everything is different. Sophia helps him pack, her movements swift and quiet. The tension between them is palpable, but it's also an unspoken understanding. They both know what's at stake. This isn't just a simple escape. This is their chance to live the lives they've always dreamed of, without the chains of their pasts holding them back. They're almost ready to leave when a sudden knock at the door interrupts their preparations. Leo freezes. His heart skips a beat. He knows who it is. It's too soon. They're not supposed to be found yet. Sophia looks at him, her face pale. "What do we do?" Leo's hand tightens on the door handle, the weight of the decision hanging in the air. His mind races, calculating their options. If he answers, it'll be the end of their plan. If he doesn't, if they try to sneak out, they'll be caught. "Stay quiet," Leo says, his voice low. "We have to get out of here. Now." They both move quickly, gathering the last of their things, their breaths coming faster as the knock at the door sounds again. Louder this time, more insistent. Leo and Sophia exchange a glance, the gravity of the situation setting in. "Leo!" A voice calls from the other side. It's his father, Malcolm. "I know you're in there. Open the door." The sound of his father's voice cuts through the tension like a knife. Leo's heart pounds in his chest. This is it. This is the moment they've been preparing for. The moment when they either stay and face the consequences, or make a break for it and risk everything. Leo motions for Sophia to follow him, and they slip out of the back door, the cold night air hitting them like a shock to the system. They move quickly through the shadows, blending into the darkness. As they reach the car, Leo looks back one last time, his heart heavy with uncertainty. This is it. There's no turning back now. The engine roars to life, and they drive off into the night, leaving the mansion behind them, along with everything they've ever known. The car speeds down the dark highway, the only sound the hum of the engine and the occasional soft click of the turn signal. Leo's hands grip the steering wheel tightly, his knuckles white under the strain. The weight of the night's decisions presses down on him, the consequences of everything he's done so far slowly sinking in. Sophia sits beside him, her eyes fixed on the road ahead, her face illuminated by the dim dashboard lights. Neither of them speaks, the silence between them almost too loud, filled with the tension of what's to come. They drive in silence for miles, away from the wedding, away from the life Leo had known. Every mile they put behind them feels like a small victory, but the uncertainty of what awaits them ahead keeps the anxiety swirling in Leo's chest. After what feels like hours, Leo finally breaks the silence. His voice is hoarse, raw from the weight of the night. "We're not safe yet," he says, his gaze still fixed on the road ahead. "I don't know how long we'll have before they come after us." Sophia turns her head toward him, her expression unreadable. "I know," she says quietly. "But we're doing it, Leo. We're getting away." Leo's heart skips a beat at the sound of her words. He's spent his whole life running from things. His family, his obligations, his fears. But in this moment, with Sophia sitting beside him, it feels like maybe, for the first time, he's running toward something. Toward freedom. Toward a future that's theirs to build. "Do you have a plan?" she asks, her voice steady, but the underlying concern still there. Leo looks over at her, his face tense. "I don't know. I was just thinking we'd head to that cabin, lay low for a while until we can figure out what to do next." Sophia nods, but the doubt in her eyes doesn't go unnoticed. "And then? What happens after that?" Leo exhales sharply, frustration creeping into his voice. "I wish I knew. I don't have the answers. I've never had the answers. But I know this. My family won't stop until they get me back. And Charlotte." He shakes his head, trying to force the thoughts away. "She won't let me go without a fight." The weight of his words hangs heavy in the car, and for the first time since they left, Sophia feels the gravity of their escape. It wasn't just about leaving the wedding. It wasn't just about breaking away from his family. This is their new life now, and it's as uncertain as it is terrifying. "You're not alone, Leo," Sophia says, her voice firm. "We'll figure this out. Together." Leo glances at her, his eyes softening just a little. The sincerity in her words cuts through the darkness of the night. And for the first time in what feels like forever, Leo allows himself to believe it. He's not alone. Not anymore. The road ahead is long, but the cabin they're heading to is hours away, far enough that they'll be able to lay low for a while, far enough to put distance between them and the life Leo is desperately trying to escape. But as they drive, the world outside seems to close in. The weight of their decisions presses on him with every mile they put behind them. Every passing car, every darkened stretch of road, feels like a reminder of just how much is at stake. They're not just running from his family. They're running from the life that's been mapped out for them since birth. They're running from everything they've ever known. The cabin is tucked away in the mountains, hidden from the world like a well-kept secret. It's the kind of place Leo's family would never think to look. No one will find them here, not for a while at least. It's quiet, peaceful. But beneath that calm, there's an underlying tension. They may have escaped, but they haven't escaped the consequences. Not yet. Sophia steps out of the car, taking in the sight of the small, rustic cabin that will be their home for as long as they can stay hidden. The cold mountain air nips at her skin, the crisp smell of pine trees filling her lungs. It's peaceful here, but it's not freedom. Not yet. Leo follows her, his footsteps heavy in the silence. He looks around the small cabin, his eyes scanning the surroundings as if expecting someone to jump out at them. He knows they can't stay here forever. They're on borrowed time, and the clock is ticking. "I don't know how long we can stay here," Leo says, his voice quiet but resolute. "But it's enough for now. We need to plan. We need to figure out what we're doing." Sophia turns to him, her expression serious. "You're right. But right now, we need rest. We need to figure out how to survive." Leo looks at her, his heart swelling with gratitude. She's been by his side every step of the way, through all the confusion, all the chaos. And even now, when things seem the most uncertain, she's not backing down. "I'm sorry," he says softly, his voice rough with emotion. I never meant for you to get caught up in this. You didn't deserve any of it. Sophia smiles faintly, though there's a sadness behind it. I didn't deserve any of this, she agrees. But I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere. We'll figure it out, Leo. Together. They stand there side by side, looking out over the vast, quiet wilderness that stretches out before them. The road ahead is uncertain, but for the first time, they're in control of their own destiny. The world may be after them, but together, they have a chance to fight for the future they want. But even as they stand there, in the peaceful isolation of the mountains, Leo can't shake the feeling that the worst is still yet to come. His father, Charlotte. No one is going to let him go this easily. But one thing is certain. He won't fight this battle alone. For the first time, he feels a spark of hope. They may have taken the first step toward freedom, but the fight is far from over. Leo and Sophia have escaped, but the road ahead is filled with uncertainty. What will happen next? Will they finally find the freedom they've been searching for, or will their past come back to haunt them? Hit subscribe and stay tuned. This is only the beginning. Leave a comment below. What do you think they should do next?